There's a lot of good that comes with technology, but there are plenty of concerns, too.
One example, the threats posed by criminals, some of whom want your personal information. Others are after money. Let's compute this.
He's not a bad guy right here. Thor Schrock from Schrock Innovation.
Good thing he didn't talk to my wife this morning, you know?
You in the doghouse or something?
Well, I didn't make bottles before I left this morning. I realized when I was gone, I forgot. So I'm
Sweet Catherine needs to eat today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Take care of the family, all right, Thor?
Well, I keep their computers safe. I mean, what do they want from me, right?
What else can you do?
What else?
Let's talk about this because something happened at a sheriff's office. I think it was in Maine.
Yeah, it was Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. All right, so, and this has happened to other police stations too. There's a type of virus attack called ransomware. And what it does is it infects your computer with a virus, and then it encrypts all the files on your computer. All the programs, all the files, the computer is, all the data is literally useless. If you have an automated backup program like Carbonite or something, of course Carbonite's going to detect that all those files have now changed. And so it's going to start backing up the revised versions.
No.
Yeah, so your backup.
The corrupted ones?
Yep, and it can encrypt your external hard drives that are hooked up to the computer. It'll spread across networks from computer to computer. So if you have a backup on a server, it'll encrypt your backup and then everything else on the server.
I'm thinking about in law enforcement, that's evidence. That's stuff that they need for trials.
That's their ability to operate. I mean, imagine an officer pulls somebody over and he logs into his system to check a driver's license or something, and the system just doesn't work.
Oh, man.
So, the officers have no idea who they're dealing with. Court can't move forward because all the documents are all digital now.
So what did they
PDF.
do? They pay the ransom?
They paid the ransom. Yeah, so they got infected with this ransomware. It was in Bitcoin, and it was about equivalent of $300. So it was about 1.2 Bitcoins, something like that. And the reason they use Bitcoin is it's much more difficult to trace. The FBI was able to trace the transaction because, of course, the police department didn't just pay and say,
right, please be quiet about this.
Yeah, they paid, and they got the FBI involved, and then they paid the ransom, and they followed the money back to a Swiss bank account, and then it disappeared.
You think about the police departments out there, but this is happening probably more so to the average consumers out there. What can you do to prevent these attacks?
Well, Schrock Innovations has been attacked by ransomware before. We had one computer in our office that was not, basically we try to keep one computer that's not protected with something so that we could hook up infected things to it and then write procedures. So, okay, when you get this infection, so we purposefully infect the computer, right? One of my guys sat down and all the other computers were being used, customers were at the front counter, he needed to do something, so he sticks his flash drive into that computer and does something, pulls the flash drive out, and this was before we had Endpoint that protected flash drives. Plugs that into the main front desk computer a couple days later, and then boom, everything encrypted. Now we have offline backups. So back in the day they'd call it a tape backup, kind of like Hillary did at her home email server. Yeah, but we had backups, and so we were able to restore our data. We didn't have to pay the $400 ransom. But individuals, we've had businesses come in that get attacked. But here's the best part: we should do a stupid cyber criminals of the week segment once a week. We could come on and we could have a little theme song, dun, 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 stupid criminals, on your computer. So some guy makes ransomware. He thinks, I'm going to get rich, all right. And so he infects all these computers. Now, we've talked in the past that coders aren't the smartest people. Sometimes when they write their code, they're not writing it because they're going to have to support it and, have a bunch of users who don't know how to use it, learn how to use it. They're just writing it to get the job done. So the ransomware encrypts, it gets on the computer. It pops up and says, all your files have been encrypted. Pay the ransom. And some people were like, oh, woe is me, I'll pay the ransom, and they paid it. Other people said, I don't care about my computer, and hit OK. And the program had a flaw where it actually skipped the step where it encrypted things. So if you just hit OK on that one, you're good to go. And then your antivirus removes the virus, you're fine.
Right. But you're not suggesting people do that,
though,
right?
No, that's not a good plan.
You mentioned Endpoint,
yes.
right? There was he mentions it and then he moved on. I would like to revisit it because that's something where our viewers, regular Joes and Janes, haven't always had access to it.
Yeah.
But it's something you recommend.
Absolutely.
How can we get it?
Well, Endpoint is corporate level antivirus software. It's the stuff that the university uses, the stuff that the government uses. Evidently not the stuff that the sheriff's office in Lincoln County, Maine uses.
Maybe now they do.
Well, they haven't called us yet,
Okay.
But they're a government agency. I mean, this has been available for large corporations and government agencies for a long time, but we've made it available to individual people. So if you call our service center, you don't even have to bring your computer in to get Endpoint. We can do it right over the internet through a Schrock desk. We'll install it on your computer, get it all done for you. The Endpoint software itself not only keeps you safe from viruses, it has a firewall and all that jazz, but it also will turn around and make sure that your computer doesn't fall victim to a USB stick attack, which is what, the Department of Defense, we just put a big quote out for computers for the Air Force Base. And we said, hey, do you guys want solid state drives? You want them to be fast? You want solid state? Like, we can't have solid state drives. Why? We're not allowed to have flash memory on base because of that very reason.
Because of that reason.
Because of those.
Yeah.
So you have Norton Endpoint, which may take a little more experience installing, but then there's also Secure Updater, which is very simple.
Yeah,
And
Secure
tell us what
Updater,
that
you
is.
could do this at home by yourself. You don't even have to call us. Go to secureupdater.com. There's a big button there that says download trial. You click on that. And it's the full program. It's not restricted or anything.
Yeah.
It runs for free for 2 weeks. Now, if you did the trial before and you're trying to do the trial again, it's not going to work. It's going to say, yeah, you're expired. But if you haven't used Secure Updater before, I'm imploring you to please download Secure Updater and just run, even if you just do the trial and then uninstall it. Get your stuff up to date, because the easiest way to get into your computer is through outdated third-party software. Things like Firefox was patched this week. Things like Skype, Dropbox, Flash, all those were patched in the last 7 days. It can take 14 days for a pop-up to show up saying, hey, you need this, and we've all been trained to ignore pop-ups. So, you know.
We didn't know if they were legit, but if you have something like Secure Updater, you don't have to worry about discerning what is legitimate and what isn't.
The dynamic duo, Secure Updater and Endpoint, you have them together, and that's the safest you can make your personal
like
computer.
ironclad.
Right.
Thanks, Thor.
SchrockInnovations.com. Thanks a lot,
see you.
Thor.